Welcome back to 600 Pearls. I'm Esther Davis. I'm the host for at least for the next couple of shows, and then we turn this over to LaKenya. Second portion, we are actually going to talk about healthcare reform. I'd like to know what the business owners are thinking. What are their priorities as we go into this brand new adventure for America? And we're going to start with whoever wants to speak first. Sharon!
I am excited about the healthcare reform bill. More women and more minorities can go into business for themselves if they know that healthcare is covered. Many people are afraid to lose their corporate jobs because the healthcare is tied to the jobs. If you have an existing condition, you cannot get the coverage that you need for your family. So if you have a sick child, you're going to stay with that corporation no matter how long you need to because you need the health insurance. This option of healthcare reform moves some of that away from being in a company covered policy only.
Okay, so you bring it up a whole new twist. You're talking about people that are staying there only because they have healthcare reform.
That's correct.
What do you think, Sharon?
Well, I think from that standpoint, it is very important that we, as the health care reform, that we use it to benefit ourselves and that it does work for us. So I think by having the most information about it, being knowledgeable of what's happening and how it really benefits us as a whole is most important.
Okay, I gotta hear from everybody. Who's next?
I agree, because a lot of people stay in the corporate jobs to provide for their families and for their children. They're more afraid of jumping out there, walking out on faith. They're afraid that, what if my child gets sick? What if I find out that I have cancer? Those things, they're afraid of that. They want to focus on their businesses, but they're like, okay, if I leave, who's going to pay ultimately in the end? So, but we need to continue to push that, so we can have that confidence that we can have this insurance and still focus on our business and get where we need to be.
And do what we want to do.
Not only are people staying on their jobs because of the health care issue and insurance, but we have fathers that are working second jobs to have coverage
that's right.
because they have a sick child. There's a portion that we're missing that is not covered by insurance. Where is that money coming from? So we have families that are doing multiple jobs, so they're not really providing the role in the household that they need in leadership. And also, there are some, in my studies, I have found that some studies, women are charged more than men for the same examination.
No kidding. I didn't
So
know that
for
was-
that reason alone, we also need to look at this healthcare reform.
Okay.
So that things are equal on the playing
We
field.
keep saying looking at it. Are we satisfied with what the politicians are putting forth, Benita?
I don't know. I wanted to go back to the healthcare. I don't have insurance and the entire time that I was self-employed and even up until now. So I am looking very closely at the reform.
Okay.
Because I was one of them that left corporate America with 3 children, with no insurance, and every time I had to see a doctor, I would go into the emergency room.
Okay. That's
So-
real world.
Yeah, and
Stephanie?
I don't think they should have taken the public option off the table. I don't know.
Did
what-
they
I don't
actually
think
do
so.
that?
It's
Did
not
they?
all-
It's not off the
It's not.
table.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, well, I thought it was, but I have a friend who had not been to the doctor since she had given birth to her 15-year-old son. And it was because she did not have health care, and to this day, she has rotten teeth in her mouth because she cannot afford to go to the doctor. And I can't see how we can call ourselves a civilized nation. And it's okay for people to walk around sick and can't afford to go see a doctor.
Right, exactly.
I don't understand that.
But
And then also, they have medical coverage for people who don't have a job at all. They have Medicare or,
Medicare, Medicaid.
Medicare, Medicaid. But then there's the ones who are working but don't make enough money to buy into the company's insurance. And they're trying their best, but we have to, make sure that they can get insurance also.
Exactly.
I'd like to share a quote that I wrote down that was in the Essence magazine this month. And there's a quote from President Obama. It says, "Making our economy works means making sure that it works for everybody. There is no second-class citizens in our workplaces." So what he's trying to do is provide for the small business an option for our employees and ourselves to afford insurance for everyone, no one left behind.
I totally agree with that. I don't see why this country that is the greatest in the world still has a Medicare system that does not work for most of its citizens. We're the only country, in my opinion, that actually makes money and makes a profit off of sick people. That's a sick nation. That is not what our country is all about. Wow. And so now let's turn the corner here. You are healthy because you always want us to eat healthy.
Absolutely.
So
I definitely believe that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And as we are moving into this direction, it is definitely my soapbox to be up on in promoting us eating more healthier, because you're either going to pay now or you're going to pay
Or you're gonna pay
later.
later.
So without having the insurance or having it as a problem, me being an entrepreneur and having to get and look for the right kind of insurance, that's how I aid myself by eating healthy, so that the visits to the doctor are less.
Exactly. And when you go, you just go for a checkup, not
Exactly.
alarm that I'm gonna
Exactly.
find something
Exactly.
that's wrong.
I don't want to know, you know, well, I guess you do, you know, you pray on those things, but yeah, so eating healthy definitely does, and Stephanie can attest to this as well. It definitely prepares our bodies for less of the problems. We're gonna have something, but just as you stated, being maintenance, maintaining our bodies allows us to be able to perform better
I
in
think
our
there's a
day-to-day
lot that
jobs.
we can do ourselves in taking our destiny in our own hands.
Absolutely.
Right.
Whether it be being an entrepreneur, starting your own business, eating right, taking care of yourself, not relying on someone else to treat the problem once you've abused it.
Once you abuse it,
That's
that
the
is.
key. Once you've abused it.
And I agree with her, you know, as far as like our stress levels, you know.
Stress. Whoa.
You know, the fear of, you know, losing your job, you
Or your
know.
home.
Yes, or your home, or your
Foreclosure
car,
rate is high.
you know, that put a lot of wear and tear on your body.
Yes.
Yes.
And so it may not be so much of you eating unhealthy, but that stress level of
Every
not
day.
knowing what's gonna happen next week,
Exactly.
next
Goes
month.
up and up
Yes.
and up.
Well, I have a 14-year-old, and he's getting concerned too about reducing his fast food habits. of
Really?
eating at McDonald's, because he's getting thicker in areas, and he's realizing in some of his science classes what could be some of the causes, and it's what they're injecting into some of the meats.
If you're looking at how you're watching us and you're wondering, how do I get in touch with this distinguished panel? Name and email addresses, and you can send them an email on anything or any questions that you might have. You know what? It's time for me to take a little bit of a break. Don't go away. We're going to come back and give a report card on the Obama administration. I'll be right back. So, yeah.